Hi, everyone. Well, welcome to Win the Room TV. Win the Room is all about you and your communication. Win the Room specializes in public speaking, leadership, and social media marketing. And each week, we bring you great stuff about communication, and sometimes we even bring you fabulous thought leaders like we have today. Denise J Hart is here to join us, and she is the CEO, and it's called Momentum Institute, and it helps entrepreneurs like you create more income. She helps people with public speaking, she helps people in coaching, and she helps people to drive their revenue. Denise is also a professor at Howard University. Denise, welcome. I am so pleased that you are here.
Well, thank you so much, Kelly. I'm happy to be here. Hey, Win the Room community.
All right. All right. So, Denise, I would love to start like just right away. I'd love to, dig in. I mean, when you and I are talking, we always just get really juicy with our conversations.
Right.
I am a big admirer of what you've accomplished between your speaking career and now how you're helping people in the sales area. I mean, it's vital. So I would love if you can give us a little bit of a background about you and how you got started.
Absolutely. Well, I'll speak specifically first to sales and revenue generation. I have had many seasons in my past, like I think a lot of people. And one of my seasons, Kelly, and I'm not sure if you know this, was I was a fundraiser. And so I managed a campaign raising $1 million in a year. And it's really where I cut my teeth on learning the strategies and the landscape of sales. It might sound a little interesting or off, like fundraising is sales. Absolutely, it is. It embodies every single component of the sales relationship, from building relationships, creating connections, going out and finding your MVPs, your most valuable prospects, determining at what level people can invest. So all of those components, how to craft the sales conversation, how to run the campaign to continue to nurture those individuals, I really cut my teeth. I really, at that time back then, I didn't call it sales actually. It wasn't until I started to actually get interested in sales and to study it that I realized, oh my goodness, intuitively, I was doing a lot of this already because of the community that I was in. So I bring that experience. Also, in addition to just having worked in retail for many years, I used to work at it used to be Hex here, and then it became Macy's in the Washington, D.C. area. And so really understanding how sales is, an integral part. There's a marvelous book that I've read and I adore by Daniel Pink called To Sell is Human. And I love that book. I love studying his material because it drives home the truth that the sales experience or the opportunity to serve, to affirm, to lift up, and to empower is actually what selling is all about, or the sales conversation. So that's just a little bit about my selling experience.
Well, I love that. I love the fact that you talk about it from that perspective because so many people that I talk to, especially regarding sales, right? They have like this attitude like it's icky. I was teaching last night and I was teaching about communication and how communication can drive revenue. And we got into this conversation about sales. And I got to say, almost all of the people in that room are your potential clients because they all had this ickiness around sales, and we talked about it, how sales is actually you're helping someone, you can inspire them to get to a higher level. So I know that you are a people person. You have enormous interpersonal skills. I thank you for, sharing that bit about, what you did with the fundraising. I didn't really know that because I know you as a public speaker because we both share that. And I know you also as a coach, but I didn't know that piece,
Yeah.
And so what I find so fascinating about you is that you married the two, the sales and the speaking
But you
piece,
know
which I
what?
think is so important.
What I really have done, and as you said, I married the two, and so I actually want to jump in and share with you that I created a formula for revenue generation. It's called the trifecta of revenue generation. So it's actually three components, and I call it the triple threat formula to increase your revenue. And it's the intersection of the relationship between your brand messaging, your sales, and your speaking. So it becomes that trifecta or that triangle.
Right,
So it's that triad. In the theater, we call that the triple threat.
right.
And it really is the foundation that everyone needs to grasp, understand, and master so that they can consistently and predictably generate the kind of revenue they deserve.
Mm. And so, what do you think are some of the obstacles that people put in front of them when it comes to sales?
You just mentioned one, the room you were in last night, mindset.
Hmm.
Having a mindset that is resistant to the opportunity to empower people to make a powerful choice for themselves of what's next. People can't choose if you don't offer.
Right.
If the
That's very
offer is
true.
kept in the closet,
Right.
how would anyone know what's available?
Right.
Right?
Right.
And so mindset is absolutely one of the tripping points that people have to get over if they're going to be a fiscally responsible entrepreneur. You know that language, fiscally responsible. If you're not being fiscally responsible, you're usually running an expensive habit. And who
Hmm.
wants that?
No, that's very true. That's very true. And so, those negative thoughts really do come in, and they
Yeah,
really do kill, the
they do with
conversation.
hunger.
Yeah. Yeah, it just stops everything, right? So what are some of the ways in which you go about, helping people like overcome something that's actually been, ingrained in them since
Sure.
they were very little, so it's that
I love it.
psychology.
I love it. I love to work with mindset. Mindset is the foundation, right? You got to get your mind right if you're going to expect to excel and be successful.
Right.
So I love affirmations. So I actually created a series of revenue affirmations. I think this is actually a new money stream for me. Actually, I may even do a book around it. Revenue affirmations, where I encourage folks to take one affirmation a day, really focus in. Here's an example. One is my money mindset is in alignment with my revenue goals.
Hmm. Hmm.
To affirm that, to stand powerfully on that truth until it starts to saturate your mindset. And then it obliterates any sort of thought that would crowd in and undermine what you want to create. So I encourage people to use revenue. A lot of times people use an affirmation like to say, I am enough. Well, you want to have revenue affirmations as well that speak directly into the pain points you're experiencing around money and generating the kind of revenue and the process of generating revenue. So I encourage, if folks aren't already connected to me on Facebook, there's a whole photo album called Revenue Reinvention Affirmation Photos. And it's about 60 of them in there. They're really powerful.
And that's true. That's true because we're friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I've seen your affirmations and they're great. And I wholeheartedly, believe in affirmations because I
Hmm.
know how much they've helped me and
Me
my
too.
struggles. Can you talk a little bit about how those affirmations helped you personally and why they're so
Absolutely.
powerful?
Sure. So, just a little snippet about kind of like my history. I grew up very poor, grew up on welfare, and I often say when I'm being interviewed that I had to go from a welfare identity to a worth and wealth reality. And anyone who's, welfare can be, a necessary stepping stone. I'm not downing welfare. But what I did was I adopted a posture of feeling lack or less than as a result of that circumstance. So there was a time in my life I never thought I would have wealth. I never believed it was possible. I had really owned that lack position. And so when I got mature enough and old enough that I realized those were just circumstances.
Right.
I get to
Right.
choose whatever I get going forward, but I didn't have any tools. I was very empty inside, but I was hungry. And so I actually stumbled upon a book. I worked in the library and I stumbled upon Louise Hay's book about affirmation work. And that's what introduced me to affirmations. And I just started to use and do the work so that I could change my thinking. You know, it said, if you change your thoughts, you change your life. I am a living example of that application. And so I thought, as I got heavier into revenue generation and sales support, I said, well, hey, if affirmations work for me
Right.
to feel more empowered, why not create affirmations specific to revenue generation? And people are really they're really eating them up, in the social media space because clearly there's a need. So
Right.
yeah, the affirmation, I have an affirmation that I used to say for a straight year, and it is I am important. I count. I nourish myself with joy and with love. I allow myself and others to be who we really are. We are all safe and free. And
Ooh.
every day for a year, I said
Ooh.
that.
That's beautiful. That's
Mhm.
beautiful. I tell you, when you're talking, I feel like I'm talking, like you're speaking into a mirror, Like I feel the same thing. It's like what you're saying, I
Yeah.
relate to so much. It's absolutely amazing that you have turned that skill into something where, you can help people now because you've been through it, you've been through
Right.
the journey.
Thank you so much. It's real
Yeah.
deal. It's no shucking and jiving. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not,
no, I love
don't
it. I
spend
love
time
it.
for some shucking and jiving. It's the real deal. This year, 2014, has been a really remarkable year. One of my brand promises is I do help people to be remarkable. And
Right.
so I'm happy that I actually live that myself. It's been fabulous, amazing to watch people go from being pretty clueless, actually, to really understanding their strategy, owning their strategy, and then using it, what I call rinse and repeat, so that it becomes consistent and predictable. My client, Raven White of the Envision firm, a luxury event planning and lifestyle management firm, I mean, she came to me. She already had the business up and running, but it was first of all, the brand messaging was all wrong, and she wouldn't mind me saying that because I was able to help her shift that, and then to understand how she needed to show up in the marketplace and really strategize her position and her uniqueness. And she just actually sent me the most amazing testimonials today. Really, almost made me tear up because to see how quickly she was also able over really a short period of time, over 4 months, to transform the trajectory of her business. In fact, she said two vendors said to her how caring she is as as a client, and she didn't have any clients when she first started working. When she came to me, she had none. um, there are so many. I have, if you really, if people want to go to my website, you can see a lot of the praise reports, but there really are so many people who didn't know what it meant to have a strategy. In fact, they thought, well, why would I need to do that? I said, because whatever you don't commit to paper is less likely to happen.
Right.
Furthermore, you need to create a strategy that is complementary to the season you are in as an entrepreneur. So if you're a new entrepreneur or a seasoned entrepreneur or a veteran, your seasons are different. Thus, your strategy must be compatible with the season you are in. There's no need in somebody who's a new entrepreneur trying to compare and recreate the strategy that's perfect for a veteran. Makes no sense. I see people coming to me and they try to do that all the time. A lot of people know the word revenue wheel. Well, I actually took the revenue wheel concept and modified that so that it actually fits what season an entrepreneur in. I call it the revenue star power. So stars have points on them.
Yeah.
So your points on your star are actually how many revenue streams you should be having if you're in whatever season you're in.
Oh, I
So a
love that.
veteran could have 10 star, a 10-point star. A newbie shouldn't have a 10-point star. They don't know what they're doing. No, I used to be a newbie, so I know
Yeah.
I didn't, I know what that looks like.
Right.
So anyway, it's empowering for people to get that light bulb to go off and say, whoa, I've been trying to copy something when I need my own strategy. That's a perfect fit for me.
Right. Oh, wow. That's great. I mean, you said a few really great things in there. One was the rinse and repeat.
That's
So,
right.
guys, if you hear that, that's definitely something you want to tweet out, the rinse and repeat effect of a good strategy. Gotta
Mm,
love it. And I love the idea of the revenue wheel and turning it into a star,
yes,
and the newbie has less points than a more advanced. That makes total sense to me.
that's right.
I know sometimes for me, I'm always like looking at, the really big companies and have to say, okay, Kelly, slow down a little bit. You're doing
Right.
just fine.
You know why they have more points? Because the everybody has vision, or you should have vision. But it's vision plus incremental steps plus taking action, which equals manifestation. Here's why the veteran has more points. They have more incremental steps than the newbie does or the seasoned. They just have thousands more. So subsequently, they have more resources, more contacts, more capacity to have partners. They have affiliates. They have a bigger brand. They have more. So they're going to have the capacity to have more points on their star. They just took more steps than the person that they're comparing to, right? That's really
Yeah,
the only difference.
yeah.
Stay in the game long enough, you'll have we all will have more incremental steps, and somebody else will be coming up behind us and say, Dag, I can't wait to have as many incremental steps as Kelly. And Kelly is like, hey, I can't wait to have as many as whomever,
Right. That's great. This is so juicy. It's on the top of everyone's mind these days. You're an entrepreneur, so sales is a part of it. And why not embrace it? Why not love it? And did you say your website? Did I miss that?
No, my website, actually, people can visit me at, uh, I'll give the shorter, my revenuereinvention.com, www.revenuereinvention.com. That's just a quicker way to get there. You could type in Momentum Institute for Women. It's just a little bit longer.
Right. But you know what? I'm going to have all that on the bottom of the video so
Oh,
no
cool.
one will miss it. This has been so incredibly juicy.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I want to say to all of you out there, thank you so much for joining us. And Win the Room, again, is all about you and your communication and making your communication so valuable for others. So, again, thank you for joining us. And until next week, take care.